Greetings Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
And Happy New Year to everyone joining us live tonight on the Maverick News channel. We're ringing in the new year worldwide, and what you're seeing there is a live feed out of Dublin, Ireland right now, as the festivities roll around the globe. And we ring out 2024 and hopefully ring in a better 2025. What can we expect? We'll talk about that tonight. Maybe we'll go to the phones. I don't know. We will have to see. Dragon is on the prowl up in Montreal. He'll be joining us live during the program and will bring us live coverage from Montreal, where they're having, of course, a big New Year's Eve celebration outside. And as part of that, there is also going to be a sizable pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas protest on the streets as well. He'll be there to show us what's going on and how they're setting up for that. We're going to talk about the latest information out of Ukraine, what's going on with Trump, the 51st state issue. And I'm laughing about it, but I shouldn't be. I see some people are taking it somewhat seriously. Other people still think it's a joke. But it is not, really. I don't think so. It's persisting, it's going on. And we're going to talk about drones. New Year's Eve drones. What's going on with the drones? Oh, they're still out there and making headlines, raising concerns, fueling fears. And in some places, they're not being used at all this New Year's Eve because there was some sort of a drone accident, I believe, down in Florida, which brings us to this next thing. All this fog. Fog everywhere. Fueling concerns and even conspiracy theories. So we'll show you what's going on with that too. It is a little bit weird, but we'll dig down and try to get you as close to the truth as we can. So stay with me on this December 31st, 2024. There's not much left of this year, and we're going to spend some of these last moments together, right here on the Maverick News Channel.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV. The entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, you think it's a joke? You think this 51st state thing is a joke? No, I don't think so. There's a lot more going on with this than meets the eye. I'm very certain of that. Exactly what the end game is here, I can't say, but this is just persistent. It's crazy. You want to see some fireworks though before we get started? Since it is New Year's Eve, here we go again. This is in Amsterdam. Check that out. This was just recent, earlier. There's their fireworks display, I guess. And pretty wicked. Okay. Yeah, Earth Cam. And we're going to go back from time to time and show you different coverage from different places. But first, the 51st state issue. Will Canada join the United States because Donald Trump is trolling Justin Trudeau and trolling the whole country? This is Fox News again. Ingram angle. Look what they're saying. Here it is.
Could the American flag be adding another star in 2025? Well, Trump's idea of making Canada great again by turning it into the 51st state is gaining some serious traction, especially from Canadian citizens. 33-year-old Ryan Hemsley told the Free Press that in Canada, quote, "You wake up and survive," he said. "There's no opportunity for growth. As much as I love Canada, becoming the 51st state of the United States would rejuvenate me." And he's not the only Canadian who's open to this idea. Joining me now is Kevin O'Leary, chairman of O'Leary Ventures. Kevin, could the American flag...
Yeah, okay. And Kevin O'Leary, nobody's cashed in more on this than Kevin O'Leary. With his talk about going down to Mar-a-Lago to negotiate or talk about integrating Canada into a U.S.-Canada economic union. Well, I don't think that he's actually going down. I don't think those discussions are actually going to happen, and yet people are talking about that. Okay, maybe he will, because so many people are talking about it, but he doesn't really have the authority. He's not an elected member of parliament. He does not represent the government. But it persists, all this talk about the 51st state stuff. And then I see social media influencers, saying things like, well, one headline was, "Canada is being sold to the United States because of Justin Trudeau. Emergency broadcast." We're not being sold, not yet. Although when I watched that stream, the message was somewhat patriotic, saying we probably shouldn't, and give Pierre Poilievre a chance because he seems to have some solutions. But I think the influencer is kind of pro-conservative. And what's going on with Polyev? Well, he's way out in the polls, remains way out in the polls. We'll talk about that in a moment, but look at his social media feed tonight. Did you know that tonight was the night that Pierre's wife said, "I do"? 7 years ago, he says, right here. I didn't know this. Little love story. What good is a story without a love interest, right? Well, here it is. This is Pierre saying, 7 years ago, I won the lottery. The day the most beautiful and amazing woman said, "I do," taking on this wild ride of a life with me. And that's here's a picture of Pierre kissing his wife. I didn't know that they got engaged. I'm assuming that's what it is. Engaged on New Year's Eve, 7 years ago. Congratulations. I don't know who got the better deal there. I think Pierre did. Oh, scrolling down. Oh, yeah. Quebec caucus calls for Trudeau to resign. This was 10 hours ago, posted by Chris Workington. Anyway. Yes, Quebec caucus. More cracks forming within the Liberal government itself, within the Liberal Party. It's pretty clear Justin Trudeau's days, maybe even hours, are numbered. And here we are, Atlantic Canadian Liberal MPs once again showing their true colors. These so-called rebels still support everything Trudeau did and want to keep doing it, just with another face. Canadians will not be fooled by their behavior. They are all Justin Trudeau. And Brian Lilly posted this letter from Cody Bloy, the chair of the Atlantic Caucus. He says the Atlantic Caucus wants Trudeau to step down, but only because they know the Liberals can't win with him at the helm. Otherwise, they think everything is great. Here is the actual letter. Prime Minister, the Atlantic Liberal Caucus met this morning following what has been a difficult week for the government and the Liberal Party. This is December 23rd, dated, and it talks about how they want him to step down. We're seeing more and more of this kind of positioning within the party itself. And yeah, even, I think I mentioned yesterday, Gerald Butts, close friend, personal friend, and recent but not current main advisor to Trudeau. Gerald Butts says that Trudeau will step down. And I think that's about as close to the PM as you're going to get with credible information. That's a pretty solid source. So I think when we come back from Christmas vacation, Trudeau, yes, will step down. So keep your eyes and ears open, because big changes are coming in Canada. Let's go back to our live feed now. Where are we looking at here? This is Rio de Janeiro. Big crowd gathering there for tonight's festivities. Only 9 p.m. there. Couple hours ahead of us. And Dragon is going to be on the streets of Montreal shortly, bringing us live footage of both the preparations for tonight's celebration in Montreal and the preparations for the big protest that's planned for there as well. So here's Pierre now talking about Donald Trump's plan. Plan could be to make Canada the 51st state. This was the message that he delivered recently, and it's good review. And I think this was from, how many days ago was this? Maybe more recent. I don't know. I haven't looked at this clip. I thought this was actually older, but this could actually be fresh. Right here, he's saying, no dice, no deal, Donald Trump. Canada is not ever going to be the 51st state.
That said, I have the strength and the smarts to stand up for this country. And my message to incoming President Trump is that first and foremost, Canada will never be the 51st state of the U.S. We have a heroic history, a great people, and a very proud future. That said, I have...
Yeah. Question is, will Canadians as a whole, will enough of us stand up in opposition to this? Do you want to become the 51st state? Do you see advantages to that? You ready to give up on your country? I'm not. Not under these conditions. No, not me. But I see so much discontent, much of it fueled by what we're seeing on social media. All you have to do is just take a look on social media. Here's a YouTube channel. I'm not familiar with it, haven't really ever watched it, but I'm just looking at the titles. Here's their most recent video. This is, what's the name of this one? This is the Canadian Foreign Policy Institute. Well, I don't think that they really speak for all Canadians. It's a political activist channel from what I gather here. And it says here for this video, Pierre Poilievre is a yapping Zionist chihuahua. I'm not going to bother even watching it. It's a little bit of a sidebar. It's just to illustrate that there are deep divisions within our country on a wide range of issues. And while some people are looking to Poilievre for hope, others are calling him a Zionist puppet chihuahua. Jagmeet Singh, leader of the New Democrats, posting a new video. I believe this is just from a few hours ago today, earlier in the day. He says 2024 was a battle fighting against liberal inaction, fighting against callous conservative cuts. For you and your loved one, he says, we're going to keep fighting in 2025. Let's listen to what Jagmeet has to say.
2024 was a battle. Here's a list of every fight and every win New Democrats secured for you going up against liberals and conservatives. Now here's a list of every fight and every win Pierre Poilievre and the Conservatives secured for you in that same year. 2024.
Well, so they did all that, and Conservatives did nothing. That's politics. What will 2025 bring? More division, I expect, and probably more psyops as well, and more discontent, more of the same, maybe more, just more, even more of what we've had. And again, that's why we're seeing posts like this aimed directly at Donald Trump, and I think too now some Canadians who are preparing to either leave the country or just give up on it and give the country up. Yeah, Canada says go F yourself. Yeah. What a weird year. Very weird year. So weird, there's all this talk about this weird fog it's just rolling across. Well, I think a lot of it the reports are coming out of Florida, but they're reports from really many areas of the U.S. Almost a third of the United States today has had reports of pretty dense fog. Here, I'll show you. And this is pretty weird. But it's not necessarily exactly. What I'm saying is we have to keep this in perspective, all right? Because some people are really amplifying this.
This is Daytona Beach Shores, Florida at 1:45 p.m. today, and you can see the fog rolling in from two directions, but not in the middle part here. where I'm about to show you. And then the next video that's about to come up right after this one is the balcony view. And you can't even see the ocean at all. And you can see this big ring here. Very strange. And it all just happened in a matter of about 15 minutes. Keep in mind there's no rain forecasted. It's not very cold outside. This is just very unusual to see and a very random time for fog to just appear. This is Daytona Beach Shores, Florida.
And nice music to go with the fog. Yeah. Is it that unusual? It's I did some research into it. It is unusual. Some people are saying it's unprecedented, and I would say that's not really true because you only have to go back to about 1988, and you will find that there was actually a more significant fog event that happened in that year across much of the United States. So to say that it's unprecedented, well, I don't know. I mean, we've seen these recent observations across the U.S., and yes, there has been an increase in fog across the country compared to what might be considered normal. Again, we're looking at fog in about maybe even 27 states reported, and this has been going on really, I think, over about the past week or so. But the duration of this increased fog presence isn't directly specified as, or it isn't, these fog events are being described by some people as unprecedented and the thickest in nearly 2 decades. Well, yeah, I guess you could kind of say that, because I guess you have to go back to about 88. But again, it's not unprecedented. These things have happened before. But what's really going on here, I think, is that you're seeing these reports come in on social media, and you're seeing a combination of things in play here. And so social media posts are amplifying this phenomenon and making it appear to be even more significant than it actually is. And you're getting, and because there are some weird elements to this, and people, I think, are, again, I think kind of ramping up or amplifying the strangeness or the eeriness of it, and even describing strange smells to it and so on. So that's leading people. So of course, there are conspiracy theories all spun up around this, right? And there's a real pattern that, I don't know if you've clued in on this yet or not, folks, but there is an absolute pattern to these kinds of events taking place through social media, and I'll comment more on that after I run this clip. This is another clip of a guy, and I don't know who he is, because the strange thing about these kinds of clips is they're sometimes difficult to trace back to the original source. And this is a repost, or maybe even an original post, but it's not created by the person who runs this channel on X. Yeah, okay, let me just bring it up. And here's, I'll run this for you, and then again I'll comment. Here we go.
All right, so it's crazy foggy right now, but that's not the weird part. Okay, like, number one, it's weird because as it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate, and it's really not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks, and like the taste of the air is I mean, the only word I can think of is toxic. It's super weird. And so I'm going for my walk, and it's kind of worrying me a little bit. Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, it smells not right. And I'm 41. I've been through fog. This is something different. Let me know if you guys are experiencing something like that.
I don't know. You know what I'm going to do though? I'm going to just take a little break, and then I'm going to come back, and I'm going to check something, and our coverage of all of this, including the New Year's Eve festivities, will continue. So don't go away. There's lots more.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, I'm back. I'll try to get some more information on that as the progress. No promises. I've got something in mind, and it might be somewhat revealing. Maybe if I don't get what I'm looking for tonight, we'll have to share it tomorrow. But we will see. The thing is, these claims of man-made or chemical fog that some people are coming up with across the U.S. are predominantly anecdotal, and you're seeing these things in social media, and that's fine, but it's not conclusive proof of anything at all. And some people are saying there's a texture, smell, or even a glittery quality to some of this fog or smog or whatever it is that they're experiencing in their areas. But it's hard to say. I'm not there. I'm not experiencing fog where I am. I can only say that I am seeing a real trend or a recurring theme to the way this kind of stuff is being amplified on social media. Whenever there is like a hurricane or a flood or any kind of natural disaster or even natural phenomenon, what is going on social media is you're seeing a combination of, I think, some even foreign disinformation campaigning going on, where they create posts, fake posts even, to amplify people's concerns. Take the truth, which is, yes, you're having fog events, but then create additional posts that make it seem like it's man-made, that someone's trying to kill you with it, to take it to some extreme place, and then have that perpetuated. You then layer in the natural and organic response to this snowball of social media coverage and information, and even in the heart of that somewhere there's disinformation surrounding the very heart of it, which is the truth, is that you've got this fog event in this case going on, or it could be some other kind of natural disaster, and then you get social media influencers who are looking for clickbait, who use it for exactly that purpose. And then the next thing you know, this is all being connected to UFO conspiracy theories. Yes, folks, some narratives are linking this fog to military operations or UFO activities. And then you've got these, this is all, shall we say, speculative at best. But it doesn't take much to send people's imaginations whirling, and it doesn't take much to exploit the whole Chicken Little skies falling fears that we all have in our little adolescent or child lizard brains that fuel fears within people. And there are some pretty low information people out there too. We have to keep that in mind, who are easily manipulated. And so I can only say that I'm very skeptical of anybody trying to tell me that the fog is here because of aliens or that it's some man-made fog designed to kill us all. I don't believe that, especially because we've had these kinds of events in the past in history. And I'm old enough to kind of remember thick fog events like this. We've had very thick fog events around here, and I covered what was probably the largest single highway accident in maybe Canadian history because of a major fog event, quite a few years ago now, but it's still stuck in my mind because of that, because of the horror and the tragedy that came with that, and the numbers of people that were killed. And I don't even want to talk about it in detail because I still dream about it sometimes after having been there on the scene. So I know what fog is about too. And there have been documented cases, of course, where misinformation, disinformation has been used to influence public opinion and behavior using events just like this. And that is part of the trick that they use to manipulate public behavior and attitudes, and even your attitude toward your own country and your own government and just your community, is to take some natural occurring phenomenon for which there is a problem, which is to say fog or an earthquake or whatever it might be, and then make it seem like someone is manipulating it. And of course, there's no solution to the problem. So it just perpetuates itself and goes on forever. And they convince you that somebody is out there doing nefarious, terrible things. And you don't want me to tell you that. A lot of you just don't want me to tell you that. That's fine. You believe what you want. So yeah, I think we're looking here tonight at 27 states with fog reports. And there was that incident back in 1988. They called it the Fog Bowl. It didn't cover the entire country, not all of the U.S., but it was really centered around Chicago. And you can go back, you'll find that event was associated with a big, famous NFL football game at that time. There have been a number of occasions like this, events through history, so it's not unprecedented. It's weird, I'll give you that. It is unusual. But I'm not going to lose any sleep over it tonight. But hey, you guys believe what you want. I'm not telling you what to think. I'm just telling you what I'm learning. Okay, let's see what's going on here. This is Dublin again, Dublin, Ireland. And they've already rung in the new year there. It's 12:36 a.m. And I'm sorry, but Cosmo's getting a little excited upstairs. So if you hear him squealing and whining, it's because a visitor has come to call, and he's very excited and happy on this New Year's Eve. And the people there seem pretty happy too. Yeah. Are you guys happy? Let me just look in the chat. Who's attacking me tonight? Ah, yes. Yeah, Jesse. Yeah, Cosmo is in the house. And Joe says, who cares? We're in Canada, Rick. Well, I don't know. Is there any fog? I'm asking you guys, is there any fog in Markowitz says, how do you know, Rick, that the fog you saw in the past was not man-made? Well, you show me where it is man-made. Ryan says, Happy New Year from the UK. Well, hello, Ryan. Great to have you here. And Sandy, Cosmo, I'm happy. Yeah, he is happy, Sandy. Cosmo, the freedom mutt. That's right, Choosy. I don't believe that chemtrails. I don't believe they're trying to kill us with chemtrails. No. I don't want to. I don't really want to get into it again tonight. But if you want to believe that they're blanketing the United States with man-made toxic cloud to depopulate you go right ahead. Have at it. All right. Be my guest. I'm going to try and stay in the real world. But I love you, Choosy. You're a good man. And Halo says Santa's sleigh is burning CO2. Reindeers farting. See, that's probably what it is. I think you're probably right on the money there, Halo. Oh my God. Whatever, man. Everybody can live in fear of the fog and clouds. Not me. Because it's not true. Yeah, they seed the clouds. They can't do that, blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, I'm not. You go believe what you want. I'm tired of arguing with people about it. I'm just tired at the end of 2024 of all the stupidity, because that's what it is. It's just stupid. And I see a lot of people, manipulating others with it, just enough. I won't participate in the lie. I'm seeing a lot of stuff over the last day or two that really pissed me off, actually, because of stupidity and people just manipulating other people, not just the fog thing. The fog is real, but just other stuff. Don't even really want to talk about it tonight. There's so much of it. Did you see the new video from Pierre Poilievre? Well, he uses the phrase weird in it. I don't want to run the video because they've got copyrighted music in it. It's pretty much going viral. I think they paid the fees so that they can use the copyrighted music. But if I run the video here, I'm pretty sure we'll get hit with a copyright strike over on YouTube, so I'm not going to do that. It's really well produced, and it makes Justin Trudeau, not just Justin Trudeau, out to be a wacko, but all the liberals. So they've really gone whole hog on that. Oh, yeah. You want to talk about psyops and propaganda and crap to screw with your minds? Here I am talking about drones, right? Well, this is what I'm talking about. Every time there's something, I'm telling you what they're doing. You've got these foreign governments who have these propaganda machines that kick into high gear, and as soon as they see a news event like this fog, they latch onto that and then they amplify it. Or the drones. The drones have become a major psyop. The whole drone thing. And here we are New Year's Eve, and drones are part of the equation this New Year's Eve, but so too is the psyop. Now, you tell me, do you believe this? Do you believe this from World News X? Look at this. This is just France, Macron, Paris, the drone, UAP alien invasion, New Jersey, breaking news. Oh, yeah, this is outside the window of an airplane. I don't know. This is supposed to be. Do you believe that? What's the audio from? You're inside a jet. Why do I hear a fighter jet like as though I'm standing on the ground overhead? What is that? Oh, is that? I don't think that. Yeah, is that real? Jesus. Yeah. We're watching a movie, right? That's what it is, folks. Psyop. A lot of people will believe that. But yeah, I'm not inclined to believe that that was a real UFO. Of the window of an airplane. And they're kind of, what is that, trying to make me think that that was Macron's jet. Tons of posts like that tonight from all over the place. Lots on social media with reports of strange drone sightings again. But it's really kind of been dialed down a lot since the height of the drone craze from, well, really about a week ago. But here's another one. You know, if somebody's trying to screw with your mind, like now every single flying object in the sky, especially in the New Jersey area, everything in the sky has become some sort of an unexplained drone phenomenon. And here I'll show you. Is this it? Yes. Hey, what about these guys? What is that? Oh, did I just lose it? Oh, for crying out loud. I lost it. We saw the picture. I wish there was a better way to bring these clips up. We're losing too many of these things. Let me take another break. One little move to the left and you delete the tab. Snobby is under attack, Rick. What's that? Snobby? Who's Snobby? Or what is Snobby? I don't understand, Halo. Snobby is under attack. Snobby. And Choosy says, I don't think you want to discard my ability to see patterns. Huh. True enough. And Choosy says, trust me, Rick. We're not effing around. I'm looking at the forensics for what happened down in Louisiana with the tornado storms. Looked like they came out of the Gulf from ships. Okay. Did I get an answer to my question about what we're talking about there? What is snobby? I still don't understand the snobby thing. Snobby, what? I don't get it. Choosy, another post here says, very odd that Rick is echoing the same sentiments the dude man accused me of living in a cartoon world. Who's the dude man? Sounds like the peace man. He's got nothing but BS and tears. Peace man? Peace man? What's peace man got to do with this? Sorry, Choosy, I don't know what you mean. And he says, I have a very strong feeling that the dude man that jumped me in agenda-free TV chat is the peace man. Oh, he had the same nasty streak. I'm not being nasty. I don't share your view on this. That's all. And I know who Peace Man is. Of course, he's been on the program here, but he hasn't been on in, like, a long time. And I don't know what this has to do with Peace Man. Anyway, I don't want to get into the Peace Man thing. Some dude man jumped on you in a chat some other place. Markowitz says, fog in Montreal a few days ago and yesterday in Eastern Townships. Well, we can ask Dragon about that. He's coming on live in the next while. And Choosy says, tell you what, Rick, maybe it's just a coincidence, but after the few days of fog here, I have blood in my handkerchief, and that's not normal for me. Go ahead, laugh it up, pal. Well, I'm sorry that you're having some sort of a health issue. I don't know what to make of that. I don't know what city you're in either there, Choosy, so... but that doesn't sound right at all. All right. I'm just... And Choosy, what's Rick going to tell us next? That the Jesuit of induction is a conspiracy theory? You pick a fight, you're going to get one. I'm not picking a fight with you, Choosy. Uh-oh, Halo says Fog stole her car. I sometimes have had trouble finding my car, but it doesn't need fog. I don't need fog to lose my car. Oh, and somebody says Choosy is from Jersey. Is that right? And Brian says there's no fog in Kingston. Well, that's good, I guess. Good. Thank you, Brian. And Yvonne de Rosier says there are contaminants in the plane fuel coming from their engine. A lot. Well, that's true. Yeah, it's exhaust from jet fuel. Yeah, just like your car, only it's jet fuel, and there's a lot more of it because they burn a lot of fuel. And Tinfoil Hat says The Fog was a great movie. Yeah, it was, actually. It was a pretty darn good movie. I gotta take another short break to just reset my brain after all of this. Hang on a sec. I will be right back.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. New Orleans. That's what's going on in the streets there. 6:50 p.m. there. It is 7:50 p.m. here. And we'll go back to some coverage there. But in Abu Dhabi, I think they said something of a record with their New Year's Eve fireworks display. Let's show you a little clip from that. This went on for 53 minutes. Holy smokes! Yeah, that's pretty wicked. Great fireworks display. Speaking of drones, I had some other stuff here related to drones. Well, before we get into that, I can tell you that almost all of Puerto Rico lost power this New Year's Eve. 1.3 million residents left in the dark there. Blackout hit nearly all of Puerto Rico earlier today. The outage is affecting 90% of Luma Energy's 1.47 million homes and businesses. And officials there are warning that it could take up to 2 days to restore the power. That's kind of weird too, isn't it? So, it was apparently caused because of the failure of an underground power line, according to the power company Luma. They're investigating this whole thing, and the blackout has amplified anger against the power company and General PR, which both oversee the electricity transmission and distribution in Puerto Rico. I guess they have chronic power outages in Puerto Rico, so again, even though this is pretty major, again, this kind of thing is not unheard of in Puerto Rico itself. They need massive infrastructure improvements there, and that would require some pretty substantial investment. Back to New Orleans there. Still coming up. Dragon's coming up live too fairly soon. And we are seeing plans for some big protests tonight as well. Apparently there's a big pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas demonstration being planned for Montreal tonight. People probably will start to gather for that very soon, I would think, in advance of the... Well, I think they're probably... You've probably got a lot of people on the streets of Montreal right now there for the New Year's Eve celebrations, and I would think that the protest will begin to form within the next hour at least. And Montreal is not the only place protests will be held and are being held. A big one planned in New York City for tomorrow as well. So we've got our eye on that one too. Not for tonight, a big one in New York City planned for tomorrow. And I believe this is from today. Is this from today? It says it's from today, but with the way social media is, especially on X, it's very difficult to know if things are current, rehashed, repurposed, or even just downright faked. Now, this is real footage. It is from Toronto. It is a protest. I believe this is from today, but I'm just going with what the Post says, and I'm just going to let the footage roll, but this is Toronto. I think you'll see something similar to this in Montreal tonight. How much will it ramp up? I am not sure. What's happening in Ukraine? Well, I think the most significant thing, and this is important, is that Ukraine is about to turn off the gas from Russia flowing to Europe through pipelines there. So I was making some notes about this because I've been talking about it a little bit over the past few nights. And it is... I think important to put proper perspective on this because I've seen some other commentaries on it, and I think there's just some outright distortions. I'll kind of leave it at that with regard to a lot of what is being said about this. So, yes, it is true that the energy is being turned off through these pipelines that flow from Russia right through to Europe. And you know what? I wasn't going to show you this, but I'm going to anyway, because this is... So many people sent me this, and so many people are focused on it. I'm gonna share you the first little bit of this video from Canadian Prepper. I don't know Canadian Prepper. I do have watched his stuff a little bit from time to time. This one, it makes me wonder about him, frankly. I'm gonna run a little bit of his stuff. Maybe he misspoke. I'm gonna let a little bit of it run, and then I'm gonna comment.
Let's see. World War III update here is what is going on. We got some.
Okay, let me just bring it down to the right speed for you.
Some big news that has been in the works for a long time, and it's finally about to happen. And this is absolutely pivotal. We have a situation where one of the final pipelines that pumps natural gas from Russia to Europe is about to be completely shut off. Now, this pipeline transited Ukraine, and Russia, I know, get a load of this, was paying Ukraine transit fees that Ukraine presumably was converting into weaponry, or perhaps embezzling at this point, we don't know, and just using U.S. taxpayers' money for weapons. Either way, that money fed the Ukrainian war machine that in turn went back to killing Russians. I know it's a confusing, duplicitous, paradoxical situation, but such is the case with business in the age of globalization. What I'm trying to say is that that deal is no more. And what that means is that Russia has very little incentive now to hold back. Because in order for Ukraine to sustain this pipeline that Russia benefited from, Russia needed the revenue from this pipeline to fuel their war machine. They were likely being very surgical in terms of their attacks on Ukrainian critical infrastructure. Now that this, at least for the time being, is not an issue, then it's very likely that the Russians are going to turn up the heat and start going much harder than they were before. Hard as a Mo Fricker. We're going to save our F-bombs for later because I know a lot of you got those sensitive eardrums and you think that...
Okay, look. It's some truth there and some distortion. Yes, the gas has been flowing all this time through those pipelines, transiting from Russia through those pipelines that go through Ukraine into Europe. The thing that you need to understand is that this was something that even Donald Trump was concerned about during his last presidency, right? The transit of Russian gas through Ukraine has been governed by several contracts. It's been there for quite a while, with the most recent significant agreement made in 2019, even after the annexation of Crimea and Russia taking those areas by force. So in the 2019 agreement, there was a 5-year deal set to expire at the end of this year. In fact, it expires tonight. At around 7 a.m. tomorrow morning, the gas is being turned off because the contracts are ending. But under that agreement, Gazprom, which is Russia's state-owned gas company, was obligated to pay Ukraine for the transit of 65 billion cubic meters of gas in 2020, reducing to 40 billion cubic meters per year from 2021 to 2024. So this resulted in a ship or pay clause ensuring Ukraine received a minimum payment, which was estimated to yield about $7 billion over the contract's duration. Now, Ukraine has been earning a substantial income from these transit fees, with estimates suggesting that Ukraine received around $1 billion annually from Russian gas transit fees after the volume of gas transiting decreased significantly. And so even though you've got all these geopolitical tensions, you've got this war actually even happening in Ukraine, Russia was still paying in hard currency for gas transit through Ukraine because Prepper is right. Russia needs that revenue. Without gas revenue, Russia's in deep trouble because they rely so heavily on energy exports to fuel their economy. But this was a long-standing business arrangement between Ukraine and Russia. Why did Ukraine allow this to continue? It's because of Europe. Europe has been in need of that energy, especially during the winter. And even though Russia has been bombing Ukraine, they invaded Ukraine, Ukraine has still allowed the gas to flow because European countries have been asking for those pipelines to remain functional. And that has been the case for the last number of years. This is not actually that unprecedented either, because even in previous wars through history, you will find that quite often countries that are even at war with each other will have been doing business with each other at the same time, simply because of mutual need. Now, the actual volume of gas transited has been well below the contracted amounts. In 2023, for instance, only about 14.4 billion cubic meters was transited through Ukraine, far less than the 40 billion contracted, but Ukraine still received payments for the full contracted amount due to the ship or pay clause. Now he's saying, and this is the thing that really just threw me for a bit of a loop. Maybe he misspoke, or maybe it's just because he's taking this Russian narrative, which I know that he does echo from time to time, and he says they were just embezzling the money. No, Ukraine wasn't embezzling anything. These are contracts. You don't embezzle money that you get through a contract. Russia wasn't embezzling anything. Ukraine hasn't been embezzling anything here. Neither side. They're both in a mutually beneficial sort of arrangement. Ukraine, though, really hasn't been in favor of keeping these pipelines open. They've only been doing it because these European countries, which are supporting Ukraine, have been asking for the energy to continue to flow. The transit fees have been a significant part of Ukraine's income, with the gas transit operator stating that 85% of its 2024 revenue came from Russian gas transit. Now, with the contract expiring, Ukraine has had to quadruple domestic gas transmission tariffs to offset the loss of the revenue. So there are different provisions being taken in order to prepare for and compensate for the impact that's going to come from shutting these pipelines down. But why is it being done? Because this will exert a lot more pressure on Russia than it will on Ukraine at the end of the day. And it's going to put pressure on these European countries as well to take action, because they're losing an energy source. And in fact, they have already taken action. And much of what they've done is in response to what Donald Trump raised concerns about when he was president the last time. You may recall Trump went over and met with these European leaders, and especially in Germany, and he expressed real concern about these European countries and their dependence on Russian gas. Now, some people will sit there and say, well, it's pretty obvious the United States is just doing this because they want to sell the gas to, and they want to control all the energy flow into Europe, and they want to sell it all. And it is true that Western countries, Canada included, I believe, have been ramping up exports of gas, natural gas, liquefied natural gas to Europe. And in fact, about 80% of the Russian gas that has been flowing into Europe has now been replaced just over the past few years by building LNG terminals, allowing for more importation of North American liquefied natural gas, and from other countries like Norway, for instance. They're pumping more into other parts of Europe to offset the Russian gas, which is about to stop flowing through these pipelines altogether. Now, there is another pipeline that flows down through Turkey, and Turkey will benefit from this, and they will become more of an energy hub as well, because the Russian gas can now flow down through there and back up and even be resold back up into Europe that way if they're so inclined to do that, and I think that they will. But to say that Ukraine, this is what just blew my mind, for him to sit there and say that Ukraine is embezzling the money from these gas contracts, or make it sound like they are, only to then turn around and use that for weapons to kill Russians. That's Russian narrative. That is Russian BS, Russian propaganda. That's him just regurgitating Russian talking points, whether he's aware that he's doing it or not. That's what it is. That's not an accurate or balanced perspective on this. This is skewed and distorted. I'm sorry, but it just is. And Donald Trump was quite right when he was president before. And when he went there and said, we should be the ones selling you the energy because here we are defending you against Russia and you're buying all your energy from them. And this energy issue has been a sticking point throughout everything going on in Ukraine. And it does weaken the West's position when you are dependent for your energy on an adversary, somebody that has been rattling the saber and now even invading neighboring countries. And they'd already gone into Crimea and they were involved in this military conflict up in the Donbass, even when Trump was president before. So this contract expires tonight. 7 a.m. approximately tomorrow morning, the gas will be turned off. This will put additional pressure on Russia. Their economy already showing signs of distress, the ruble under severe pressure, and Russia is having some pretty serious problems with their economy. Not to say that we aren't as well, but this is part of the game. And you go back, you look at what, precipitated all this, what Trump said when he was president before. Trump was vocally against the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. And people say, well, we blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. The reality is there's no proof of anything at all regarding even the Nord Stream pipeline sabotage that took place. And the articles and the journalism that was conducted by Seymour Hersh, as more time goes on, I'm more and more skeptical of everything that he came out with. Because his whole narrative, which was amplified by pro-Russian pundits, was based on a single unnamed source. And because of his article, it spun up this entire Russian narrative that CIA or US, maybe UK, blew up the Nord Stream pipeline. But there are so many other elements to that story that might make you look at it completely differently, that it's worth taking another look at the whole thing. Because you may recall that Canada was actually repairing a turbine for the pipelines just prior to the sabotage or whatever it was that resulted in that pipeline blowing up. And Canada was debating whether they should even send the turbine back to Russia because of the invasion of Ukraine. The reality of it was that then after Canada agreed to send the repaired gas turbine back because it's a specialty repair, it's something that could only be done in Canada. After Canada agreed to send it back, Russia actually refused the turbine shipment back. And Russia also was having problems with the pipeline. They were having trouble delivering product. There were economic problems with it, and they were in a loss situation. The other thing that makes it all very suspect to me is the fact that after the sabotage, Russia, the company associated with the Nord Stream pipeline, the owner, went to seek insurance damages, only to find that their claim was going to be denied. But if you look at the way they were hoping that would play out, they have a pipeline that wasn't profitable, a pipeline that wasn't fully functional, a pipeline that probably wasn't going to be able to deliver the product anyway, a pipeline they were going to have to pay penalties on because they weren't able to deliver the product. So they were going to exercise, I think it's something called force majeure, which is if the pipeline were to be blown up or rendered non-functional because of an act of sabotage or something of that nature, then according to the delivery contracts that they have, they wouldn't have to pay the penalties because they'd say, well, they said that the pipeline's blown up. So not only do they get, if Russia blew it up, which is what some of these other theories on the other side look at, If Russia blew up that pipeline, then the gas company, the Russians, wouldn't have had to pay the penalties. In addition to that, they could then, they were trying to go after Lloyd's of London, a Western insurance company, to get them to pay damages for the destroyed pipeline. So they cash in, and then they blame it on Ukraine, the US, CIA, all the usual entities that they always blame everything on anyway. And so it's hard to understand why Russia might blow up that pipeline. Why would they blow up their own pipeline? I just told you why. They were losing money on it. They couldn't deliver the product. They were having technical problems with it. They were having turbine issues. They couldn't make it work. They were going to have to pay big penalties, and you're in a state of war at that point. So why not just blow the damn thing up, make the West pay for it through an insurance settlement, and then blame it on your enemy? That makes perfect sense to me. And people want to talk about false flags. There's your incentive. Now, I can't prove any of that, but Seymour Hersh can't prove what he said either, because all he's done is come out, write an article, and say he's got a single unnamed source. We don't know who that is, where it is, or even if there is a source. And he's been accused repeatedly of using Russian sources for more of his more recent work in recent years, which gives a lot of his work a Russian slant. Some saying that he's probably being manipulated in some way by the Russian sources that give him this information. I'm not concluding anything one way or another. I'm giving you both sides of the equation. You can believe that that CIA blew it up or that the West did it. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows except probably whoever did it. But there are plausible theories on both sides. And I'm just not, I was very, very quick to buy into the Seymour Hersh article and his work because of the awards that he's won in the past and the credibility that sort of came with that, and not really scrutinizing what he was all about earlier on. And I'm sorry that I didn't question it more vigorously, but there were other people who came to his defense and promoted what he was saying at the time who appeared to be credible as well. But most of those people, in my eyes, have completely lost all their credibility too. So I'm not buying the Seymour Hersh article at all. In fact, and I would say this, if what he's saying is true, name the source. The entire time I ever worked, even in mainstream media, you know, you didn't just write an article and say, I've got an unnamed source. Either you name your damn source or you find some other way to verify and attribute your information. You can just make stuff up otherwise. And so as far as I'm concerned, the Seymour Hersh Nord Stream pipeline article, upon which the entire Russian narrative is built around that issue, is nothing more than maybe a fiction. And I'll tell you this, Ukraine hasn't been embezzling any money from the pipeline transit fees. That's just a contract that was agreed upon, and both sides were living up to their ends of the bargain. It's just that simple. And Trump was quite right when he was over in Europe during his last presidency, raising concerns about European dependence on energy. And everything that he said with regard to that has really come to pass. And we're dealing with that right now. And the idea from, Mr. Prepper's video there, that this is somehow some new phenomenon to see countries like Ukraine and Russia doing business together even though they're at war, that's not really true at all. You just have to go back and look at your history. It's always been that way, and the history even today, though, is being twisted and distorted to again make the West look bad. Look at what happened during World War II. I've had people on this program point their finger at the United States and say the U.S. and Canada, nothing but Nazi nations, saying that because companies like Ford, General Motors, and others did business with Nazi Germany before the war, and that after and even during the war, those companies still continued to do business with Nazi Germany. There is some truth in that. Ford, GM, many other North American, Canadian, U.S. companies did business with Nazi Germany leading up to World War II. After the war broke out, those companies still remained in place. Their facilities were still in place in Germany. But when we actually went to war with Nazi Germany, what Germany did is they nationalized, they confiscated those companies. And they continued to operate those facilities over there. Now, after that, yeah, people have dug up documents and they said, well, there's still linkages there and money trading hands, but it's not really that unusual. And it's not fair to simply point your finger at the United States and Canada and paint us as Nazi nations that did work with Russia, or sorry, with Nazi Germany, because Russia did it too. But they always gloss over that. Leading up to World War II, Russia was supplying Nazi Germany with all kinds of raw materials, from rubber to energy to all kinds of other minerals, so that they could build the war machines that allowed Russia to conduct the warfare that it conducted. And then they entered into their non-aggression pact, and they continued to send materials, raw materials, into Nazi Germany to fuel the German war machine and the buildup of all the arms that Nazi Germany was able to produce. Much of it covertly, without really the full knowledge of much of the rest of the world, financing it through MIFO bills. But Russia fueled that. Russia made that all possible. But you don't hear much about that. And the non-aggression pact and splitting up Poland between Russia and Germany. And I'll tell you this, there are people who want to see a reunification, a new alignment between Germany and Russia even today. Remember, Germany was split in two, divided. Hasn't always been just, it's just not always on the western side. Some people, the Russians would like to have Germany back on their side. This is not as simple as people are making it out to be. And what's going on right now with the gas, it's all related to this. These historical truths need to be explored in real balance and context. It's not all us. It's not all our fault. It never was all our fault. And Russia, they sit there and claim that if not for them, we all would have lost World War II. That Russia, and I hear people say it a lot over here because they're exposed to all this Russian propaganda, Russia won the war. The United States barely contributed. That's not actually true at all. It was the U.S. economic powerhouse, the economic machine, that actually made it possible for Russia to do much of what they did, because the U.S. sent so much in terms of aid, military aid, to Russia so that they could fight the Nazis. And the U.S. fought too, and Canada fought too, and other European countries fought too. If not for the United States sending the aid, even for things like locomotives, trains, vehicles, Russia wouldn't have had the resources that it needed to repel the Nazi aggression. And the other thing that is an inconvenient truth for Russia as well is that a lot of the troops that helped repel Nazi Germany were Ukrainian. Another very uncomfortable truth for Russia. Balanced perspective, fair play, real journalism, real truth, not picking a side, just straight up truth. Not self-flagellation, self-loathing. Just balance, perspective. Do your research. Don't let people suck the cells out of your brain. Because if they do, we're all doomed. Our country's under attack. Prepper's right about that. We are in World War III. Right now. On this New Year's Eve, 2024, entering into a whole new year. Where will we be? Are you going to stand up for your country? First thing you got to do is get your head wrapped around reality and stop letting people screw with your mind. I don't know how to help people get out of these rabbit holes to the point where they're back to reality so that they can kind of see what's going on. I have to question my own reality every single day because we are under attack. This is an information war. And I've caught myself from time to time being duped by what I'm seeing online. It's hard to know what's real, what isn't real, but it's important to keep our feet planted firmly on the ground and keep our heads out of the clouds and the fog. Because that's the stuff that's distracting people. That's the stuff that's sowing seeds of discontent and distrust. That's the stuff that's leading to self-loathing. It might seem like, oh, it's all in good fun or something, but it really isn't, because a lot of people do believe the sky is falling. But I can tell you, it is not. But missiles are. And those are the things that are really killing people. Take a little break, then we're going to go live to Dragon in Montreal.
You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media.
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, new Nanos Reid poll out today showing the Conservatives in Canada with a 26-point lead over the Trudeau Liberals. Trudeau's days, and as I said, hours even numbered here. And yeah, here we are on New Year's Eve. Let's go live to Montreal. Get a little Canadian perspective on this New Year's Eve with our one, our only, our friend, our contributor, Dragon. Welcome, sir.
What's up, guys? Hope
Hey,
you can hear me.
You look, sounds great, looks great. You look great. Love your hat.
Thank you, sir. A little gift from one of my friends, so I will proudly wear this as my new feature. So
it looks great. You look very reporter-like, I have to say. Yes.
This is actually the idea. So I hope you enjoy the new view of Dragon. as itself.
So,
I like it.
boy, I was looking online and I saw all these promotional videos for tourism for Montreal today. And I mean, it's such a beautiful city. There's so much going on. New Year's Eve, there are all kinds of festivities planned there tonight. Tell us what you're seeing there, what's happening in Montreal this New Year's Eve.
Well, this New Year Eves, we have at Dorchester Park here a gathering of the pro-Palestinian, probably just to have some protest around the square, just because, well, it is a Western kind of Westerner type of tradition. So why not just get ourselves a little bit of disruption in this New Year's? So.
Oh, so is that police officers walking by you there? Is that who it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just seen 3 police officers coming by from
Okay,
the.
so-
yeah. Yep.
So this is a protest being organized by, is it the Palestinian Youth? What's the name of the group? I can't remember.
Montreal Palestinian Youth Montreal, or youth movement. So it's basically what they are. So yeah.
Right. And so of course they're down there because they're going to have a big crowd of people tonight. Crowd is starting to gather, and of course they'll get a lot of eyeballs and attention because of the number of people there, and they want to be, I guess, disruptive in some respect, maybe to what's going on, or do you know?
Yeah,
what the
well,
plan
they
is?
done the same thing, as you know, on the 26th of December when everyone was buying for Boxing Days. They were trying to disrupt people's around, and well, today is another day of tradition and festivities, and well, they are trying, probably, like you said, trying to do something out of it. So,
Right.
but if I can give you a little bit of a perspective all around
Please,
me.
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll show you a little bit. I'll pan the camera all around here. So this is the other part of the park where you have the René Lévesque Street, right?
Yeah.
And this is behind where it's going to be. So basically, this is where all the festivities of the pro-Palestinian will be around this statue right there. So they will be all around here, right?
What is that? Is that the cenotaph? The war cenotaph?
I think it is.
Yeah.
It is the war cenotaph, actually.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So
of
yeah,
course,
I mean,
yeah.
it is one way to push, I will say, the anti imperialism type of ways, right?
Yeah,
or
back
the
up a little bit there because we can't see your lovely face. If you can,
There you go. So this is what you got. This is actually where you have also right behind me, where I've showed you. This is also the Victoria Square, just right beneath, right behind me. So you got all those little spot of, I will say, imperialism type of sort of
colonialism.
Yeah, sort of the picture here. So they will come around and just, try to make, it look bad for us, kind of thing.
Yeah, because they're symbols of colonialism that they want to contrast with their protest, and of course the New Year's Eve celebration, they'll try to make their point there, saying, I guess I've heard chants something, and this is me paraphrasing what I've sort of heard, but like, no peace without, like, basically you can't celebrate as long as there's no peace in Gaza, or no free Palestine, right?
Well, there's one guy on X that I've said something along the ways that if there's still babies dying in our countries or such, well, you don't have to celebrate anything because, well, it is sort of a, you cannot celebrate while we're mourning our lost, kind of thing, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So why would I feel bad about it? I mean, I do feel bad about it, but I mean, it's not my doing, right?
You didn't do it. We're in Canada. There's And in fact, Canada has actually suspended any weapons shipments to Israel. We're not sending weapons to Israel anymore.
No, I am
the
not.
government stopped that, and I think most people are not even aware of that. In fact, and yet they persist with their protests because they want divestment of the government, of our corporations, our institutions. But then I think that what we've really seen, and I'll get you to comment on this, Dragon, but is it fair to say, in your estimation, that what we've seen, say, at Boxing Day and throughout the holidays and even before, is not just protests about Palestine, but these are really an extension of protests against capitalism, colonialism, free markets, Western society, and Canada in general?
Yeah, it is, because basically what they will argue to tell you is that when you put your tax on, right, those taxes goes where armament goes. So basically, you by an external ways, you will be giving money to those armament, and you will be basically gladly giving money for that. So
yeah, even though here in Canada we're not, because the government isn't funding lethal weaponry to go to Israel. But again,
exactly.
People are not aware. They don't know that. They're just not paying attention.
And even if my government decided to take my taxes and give it to whatever they want, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, who am I to tell them not to give that money where they want to, right? I mean, I have no power, no jurisdiction to tell them what to do with the money I give them. So they will do what please. So.
Well, I mean, we all have opinions on this, and we do have a voice here. And I'll just give you the information on this. Canada suspended the export of lethal military goods to Israel. The decision was communicated by Foreign Affairs Minister Melanie Joly, who announced the suspension around 30 arms shipments permits, indicating that no form of arms or parts of arms would be sent to Gaza. This policy shift was part of a broader response to the ongoing conflict in Gaza, reflecting Canada's commitment to not contribute to the violence through military exports. And that was a controversial move that the Trudeau Liberals made, but it has been done. But again, these protests persist. Now, we've seen in many places streets blocked. We've seen over the summer university campuses taken over, occupied, freedom of movement for citizens restricted on those properties, those university properties. What do you anticipate? It's very early there yet. The crowds obviously have not really started to gather, but it's my understanding that within, say, half an hour or so, this protest is supposed to happen right where you are right now. Is that correct? And what do you anticipate?
Yeah. Well, right now I can hear some people in the background coming, and there's it's loud. So I think they're about to be right in the park right behind me. So I don't know if you can hear the noise behind me, but it's getting louder.
Okay, I'll tell you what, Dragon. Let's take a very short break for like a minute or two. Maybe we can get you to get your camera, get a little bit mobile, get it off the tripod, and we'll come back to you once you're set up, and maybe you can just start strolling down that way and go check out the noise, the activity, and show us exactly what's going on in the park. How does that sound? Can we do that?
Sounds perfect.
Okay, well, let's take a
As you can
break.
see, there's a lot of police behind me, so it's about to be here.
All right, let's take a little break. We'll come back, and Dragon will go mobile, and we'll take a stroll through the park, get over there to where the big New Year's Eve protest in Montreal is apparently going to take place. And we'll check in on some other locations around the world as well. Stay with me.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarmingly, some media outlets simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
In an ocean of lies a century deep, the truth awaits. Choose not the red pill. Choose not the blue pill. For both are an illusion. Discover the power of M. The power of individuality. We are mavericks. We are the way to the light. Fear not the storm. Join our quest for truth. Truth will set you free. Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, let's see what's going on with Dragon. Here he is. He's back. Are you ready for us, Dragon?
Yep, I'm ready. Can you see me well?
I can. It looks like you're going to shoot yourself with your tripod.
I'm going to shoot myself with a tripod. That's cool.
Just so everybody knows, that's not a gun. That's just the legs of Dragon's tripod in the shot. It looks like he's got the camera hooked up to it so that we can kind of see what's going on. He's got it on a
You know what? I'm going to turn the camera a little bit around here.
Yeah, perfect.
There we go.
Now we're rocking and rolling. There you go. Okay.
I hope I'm going to pan well for you guys. So, as you can hear, there's a lot of noise around here, right? It's getting noisy.
If you say so. We really can't hear it. Not yet. Little bit in the background there, but I think your microphone is fairly direct. It'll pick up as you get closer, for sure. Everything is good. The audio is good, so let's just keep on rolling. Tell us exactly where you are now, Dragon.
So we are right now at Square. We are at the Chester Square right now at Montreal. So this is where the gathering of the pro-Palestinian protest will be. So as you can see, there's a few flags here, and it's getting noisy. I hope you can hear all.
Yeah, just pan down a little bit because we're getting not enough. There we go. That's much better.
So how does it look for you guys? It sounds kind of, well, a bit of a protest, right? But if I can give you another perspective right here, you got the Labé Center right here. A well-known center where people go by around. So,
So is this near where the New Year's Eve celebration for the community is happening?
Yeah, well, actually, there's plenty of places. This is one of these, but one of the main center will be at the old port. So, yeah. But
so how
right
far
now.
away? How far away are the protesters from where the New Year's Eve revelers are going to be?
If you go to the old port, it's about 30-minute walk in from here.
A 30-minute walk?
Yeah.
So they're a
And
half an
it's-
hour walk away from where the New Year's Eve celebration is happening?
Yeah. Actually, if you go look into it in the old port, you got some beautiful raves coming in. It's the Glue Fest at the old port.
So if I understand this right, then the reason they're at this location is because you have the cenotaph there and these other symbols of Victoria, Queen Victoria, the colonialist symbols. That's why they're there, but they're not over trying to disrupt the New Year's Eve celebrations per se.
No, but there's every year there's a lot of people coming around here in this park, right? So they all celebrating, having fun with music and all. Most of the time, the music that you will hear is folkloric Quebecers or Canadian music, right?
So
But right
tonight,
now,
as we get closer to midnight, you'll also get a lot of people in the park there celebrating New Year's Eve as well, because they have all the lights set up. You have the cafes and the bars and things like that around there. Is that fair? Is that what's going to happen?
yeah. Well, this is one of the main streets where there's a lot of cafes and restaurants where people will just gather and have some fun with families. And as you can see, it's very like Christmas like sort of atmosphere here, right? So I think that they will also kind of trying to disrupt this part of the celebration in a certain idealistic way. If it's fair to say.
So have they started with their speeches? And I guess we're still a short time away from their official launch time, right, with this? But they have a pickup truck there. Is that because they have people going to stand in the back and with a PA system or something?
It's, I think at the moment it's the gathering because they on the pamphlet it says that it's starting to for 9 o'clock.
So that's about 10 minutes from now.
Yeah, they are gathering, warming up, and ready probably for either a rally or stay around here and just flag away, as you can see right here.
So we don't even know if they're going to march or if they're going to stay in one spot. You don't know.
No, I'm not sure. Actually, I did try to find out, but it's really hard to find out because they are trying to kind of hide their information as much as they can.
They don't talk to you.
No.
That's the bottom line. They don't like you.
Most of the time, they will think that I'm with Rebel News and such, which I'm not, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, well, it's sad, right? Because we're trying to be as fair as we can be, but
That's right. Yeah. So
it's not working.
We don't even associate with those guys at Rebel News. Like, we're not part of that, and yet we're guilty by disassociation, I guess. But that's
I
okay.
think it's because we have the independent news type of.
Yeah.
This is the idea. Independent news equal probably disruption of rhetorics and such.
Well, they don't. Yeah. So they probably. It's so unfortunate. It's difficult to interview people, engage in any real constructive discussion on anything, because people just won't talk to each other on different sides right now. I've never seen, like in my lifetime, I've never seen so much polarization. It's never been so difficult to practice balanced journalism because it's difficult just to get people on both sides to comment. Because if you talk to one guy, the other side won't talk to you. It's just automatic disqualification.
Yeah. And I mean, I could disqualify myself in some point when I get my own view, but I don't show up. I don't show those views. I just say whatever I have to say and just, observe as a third kind of perspective.
Right. So, the crowd isn't actually as big as I thought it would be, but of course, we still have a little bit of time before the protest actually begins. Compared to what you've seen with the other protests in Montreal, how is this crowd size tonight?
Pretty small. It's still small. And look, like you said, the night is young, and never know. In 2 hours, we might have 2,000 people around here.
Yes, yes. What's the weather like there? Is it cold? Is that keeping people away?
Oh, it's not too cold, actually. I would say about 8 degrees.
Oh.
In my beautiful Montreal, 8 degrees.
8 degrees Fahrenheit, or sorry, Celsius.
Yep. So it's not too cold. But you got some fair cold wind.
Well, 8 Celsius. So that works out to about 46 degrees Fahrenheit. Is that right?
Yeah. If you convert well, I think so. Let me just think about it. Yeah, I think you're right.
Well, it's not that warm right now. I just checked the weather forecast.
Oh, it changed.
And well, let me just see if I can get the current accurate information.
So Rick's gonna get you the real weather.
It's 4 degrees Celsius right now.
Oh, so
wait a
4
second.
degree.
No, that's not the right city.
Oh,
hang on. I'm working on it. The computer here. Well, you're there, so you know. Don't just trust me or read the weather report. It is what it is. If you're telling us it's, what did you say, 8 degrees Celsius?
About. Let me check on my. It's supposed to tell me right here. I'll tell you.
Did we lose your feed there? Yeah, you froze up.
Oh,
well,
sorry.
He'll be back. That's okay. Montreal.
Oh, there you go.
3 degrees, it says.
Yep. It's about that.
According to Environment Canada, so that's 3.
So about a drop of 4 to 7 degrees since I was out. So.
Yeah, so that's about 37 Fahrenheit. That's still pretty warm, especially for this time of year. Yeah. Not unprecedented, but pretty warm.
It is.
Yeah, that's good for a New Year's Eve, actually, because I've been to some outdoor community celebrations on New Year's Eves that have been extremely cold, and it's no fun when you're outdoors and it's bitter cold like that. So you've lucked out tonight, sir.
Well, you know what? I cannot give you a journalistic kind of point of view when you're in the winter, like right now. Even with those gloves, okay? Good glove. But as your gear is getting cold, damn, your hands getting cold as... I mean, your hands get cold as real fast as your gear gets cold. So, yeah. Get prepared, guys, when you do journalism in the winter.
So we're still a short number of minutes away from the beginning of whatever this protest is going to turn out to be. But tell me this, Dragon, and this is just between you and I and the audience. Have you made any New Year's resolutions?
Yes. Make myself more money.
Yes. Well, that would solve a few problems, wouldn't it? If we
no,
could,
actually, probably just not to be too expensive, and try to, be careful with overall expenses, kind of thing. So.
Yes, yeah, I can absolutely relate to that. We're trying to cut the expenses here for this operation too, because it's very, very tough slogging right now. That's for sure.
Oh, sure is.
Yeah, and. Are you seeing like other people in the area getting ready to celebrate tonight? Is there like tell us what's in that park? Is there like a skating rink, or is it just a light display, or what are just the average?
No, it's basically a regular park, with few beautiful statues and a display of light, and it's basically like you can see the building right there, right?
Yeah.
Those are beautiful building from Montreal that is you can see in every postcard that makes a beautiful Christmas-like environment or atmosphere for whole family to come and gather and wish good years. So yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean, I've been around here, all right, like walking in many boroughs of Montreal. There's a lot of display of light in Montreal, so it's a beautiful place.
I guess there was a big fire out in British Columbia today too, in Telegraph Cove. Huge fire out there. I guess it took out a big portion of the picturesque boardwalk out there. See if I can get you some video of that. I don't know. That's I guess under investigation too. Pretty big one. Did you hear anything about that? Probably
Actually,
not.
I did real quick, but I couldn't have time to look into it.
Yeah, I'm just searching for video on that. Here's some here. Yeah, here I'll just I'll tell you what. Just let's take a little short, like 2-minute break from you, Dragon, and I'm going to show people this video so that I can make use of the system here, and then we'll come back to you with more live coverage as this protest is about to begin. Okay?
Perfect.
All right, so let me just bring up this footage of the fire out in BC. Telegraph Cove destroyed much of this boardwalk there. There was a whale interpretive center there, I guess, as well, that was affected by this. It's all gone. And, like, I've got some images. There it is there. Yeah, a bunch of buildings. There's several of them in the Northern Vancouver Island tourist destination. It looks like they're a complete loss. The Whale Museum no longer standing. Gone. There were some businesses there as well, an old Saltery pub. And, yeah, big tourist area. I guess it broke out this morning around 5:30 a.m. Firefighters finally got the flames under control around 11 this morning, BC time. And they've been there ever since, kind of snuffing out the hot spots. Big loss. Big loss. So that's out in BC. Yeah, here's some other social media images that I can share with you showing the actual fire itself. Here you go, another one. Telegraph Cove. All right, let's go back to Dragon. Here we go. And you're back, sir.
Yep. And we're back. Sorry, I got a little. I got to screw a little bit of a one of my thing here because for some reason, those gimbal can be screwy a little bit. But there you go. Can you see me well? So we are at the gathering right now. So as you can see right there, there's a little bit of gathering of people. And yeah, it's going to be a New Year's Eve in Montreal, like this.
Well, I think too we've got, let me just see if we've got, that's Brazil. I'm kind of wondering what New York is looking like tonight on New Year's Eve.
I'm curious. Oh, by the way, you said New York?
Yep.
In the subway, someone been slashed their throat in New York subway today.
Oh, well, that's terrible.
Yeah, that's kind of. You're reminding me this thing that I've heard before going on this trip, and yeah, I'm like, you just reminded me this story.
Yeah, I know, as with every New Year's Eve, at least they're going to extreme lengths to keep the area secure. Here, let's just go to a quick shot of what's going on in New York City. I'm going to dump out of your coverage there for a moment, Dragon, and we're going to go to New York City. We'll come back to you in about 60 seconds. Hang on. Okay, let's... we'll bring New York up, where the big ball is going to drop at midnight. Here we go. And there it is. As crowds gather in New York. For tonight's New Year's celebration. Boy, I'll tell you, I miss Dick Clark. I do. New Year's just hasn't been the same without Dick Clark. You know, I think they still call the ABC coverage Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, don't they? I'd have to find it if that's actually true. Let's ask Dragon. Do you know, Dragon, do they still call the ABC coverage of New Year's Eve Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve on ABC?
I'm not sure, actually. I can't say.
Yep, they do. I'm just checking it here. They still call it. Yeah, Ryan Seacrest hosts Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve 2025.
Oh well.
Yeah, they kept his name. So what an icon that guy was.
Oh, it was. Truly was. But not as an icon as Rick Walker is.
Oh yeah, right. No man, nobody comes close to Dick Clark in that sphere of media. That guy, timeless. I mean, look at the legacy he left. And I think just, that there was a class act, Dick Clark. Really, American Bandstand, entertainment, great television host. Did so much work. And I think just overall, that guy elevated so many other people's careers in media. And even Ryan Seacrest. If it wasn't for Dick Clark, even Ryan Seacrest would not be where he is today.
Yeah.
So fitting that they keep his name associated with that broadcast. Oh, and there's Deborah. She says, yes, they do. Yeah, so thank you, Deborah. Yeah, they kept the Dick Clark name. I think that's cool. That's a great thing because I think he deserves to have that recognition, that tribute ongoing.
Yeah.
I love
you know
Dick
what?
Clark. Yeah.
I'm thinking about the conversation I had with one of my neighbor yesterday. You know what? It would be a trip 1 year. At the end of the year, I would be at Times Square and celebrating the New Year's. Hey, why would I be there for Maverick and show it?
Well, if we ever get a budget, maybe we could do stuff like that.
Oh well, you know what? I will tell you a little something later, probably in the private, that might just get you a little bit on the scale, but you'll like it because I about got something yesterday that past this, just a little Yoda from 11K, just saying.
So, I'm not following you. Are you saying somebody sent you a donation?
No, actually, I went with a friend to horse races.
Oh,
almost won.
You almost won, but you didn't. So did you lose money on the horses?
Well, $5 for a bet of probably, yeah, $5, but would have got myself a 11K worth of a bet.
Oh,
for
so if your
$5.
horse had won, you would have won $11,000 because the
Yeah.
odds were.
Well, one actually, the judge decided that horses on the second line bailed on us. Basically, kind of went on the line of the other horses. So basically, disqualified that horse. So I have lost $5. Just what I mean, I don't do that often. It was just a little fun for myself, a little, fun stuff, that you do on New Year's one time in your lifetime. And well, I could have probably just gone close for 11K.
$5 on an extreme long shot. See, I don't gamble. I don't buy lottery tickets. I don't play poker. I don't ever go to the casino. I just don't do it. It's not my thing.
Well, I don't like casinos and such. I mean, I just did that just for once in my lifetime. Just having fun with a neighbor, and yeah. I probably have come back with some more money in my pocket just for the fun of it. But if not, well, it's all fine.
You put $5 down, and you could have won 11,000. Like that's what. So what happened to your horse? How did it place?
Well,
Last?
the horses number 5 that I had in mind went in, but actually it's the second horse that trampled on one of the third horse. So basically disqualified the other horses. So basically bailed the other, the lineup. So my line that I had in mind, the 3 first horse was in, but you had to switch the numbers because of that bailout. So basically, my bet was not good anymore.
So your bet was like worthless. Your horse was disqualified, is what you're saying.
Yep, the second horse.
That's
the
worse
second
than coming
horse
in last.
Well,
okay,
okay,
just come in last. You got disqualified.
Johnny, you know our Johnny that is good with bet, right?
Yeah.
Ask him about Super 5.
Super 5. Okay.
I bet on a Super 5 on wooden horse race yesterday. So basically, yeah, the 5 went in the first, but number 4 bailed out on the number 1, I think, if I do remember well. So
okay.
But it's okay, it's a fun fact.
Sorry you lost your $5. Is the protest starting? What are these people doing? Is there anything to cover here or what?
Check that out. There's more people right now.
Okay. Have they started speaking? Or are they doing anything?
No, basically it's more of a gathering. There's some music and well, yeah, the music is more about, it's basically, I would say, philosophically in tone with the lust of people and so on. So it's basically the sadness of wartime, losing your people, and that's what it is. From the lyrics, that's what I get. So.
All right. So. Yeah, Pooh Bear. Is it Pooh Bear says, I have no desire to go to New York. I honestly, I have no desire to go to New York either, especially not right now. I'm just at a point, I've been here for a long time. I don't like large crowds. I just don't. I don't like dealing with the traffic. I don't like dealing with the congestion. I don't like dealing with just elbow to elbow swarms of people.
Rick, you are agoraphobic. You do have agoraphobia.
I'm just getting old. I just don't need it to be happy. I just don't need to do that to be happy.
That's weird because I'm a agoraphobic kind of guy. I don't like to be in a crowd or be in a kind of crowded place, right? And I'm not claustrophobic, But when I'm in a small space with a lot of crowd, like in a party in the house, I feel like, squish in those corner, right? But nowadays, I don't feel that much claustrophobic for some reason. I've kind of found a way to temper with that. So,
Well, you know what we should do here, Dragon, is we should open this up to the phones, I think, in case anybody wants to call in. So let me run this promo, and if anybody wants to join the program via telephone, you can do it this. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call now, 1-519-401-1373. One 519-401-1373. Exercise your right to free speech. That's 1-519-401-1373. That's 1-519-401-1373. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you.
Today is probably one of the best jobs you have done since I've been listening to you.
Hang on just a second. Just tell people who it is that we have on the line with us tonight. You still there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, who do we have?
I have to say thank you for that job, because this is exceptional work you have done today, dealing with the fog situation, because I did not see it that way, and you really made me feel better after that, because your approach was very technical and scientific, and you kind of weed out all those craziness, fear factor. I mean, you did a very good investigative job. I mean, that was outstanding. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate your feedback on that. It makes me feel better knowing that what we're doing is helping at least some people out there keep things in perspective.
But if I can ask you one question.
Sure.
Do you understand Mr. Trudeau, his behavior? I mean, what's happening? I mean, he's acting up the same way Macron, all of those guys. Is there a new way, a new philosophy for the politician now to act dumb, stupid? So is that a new thing that is there? Because there is no difference between him and Macron. And I can put Schulz in that category too in Germany. Once the people fall out, they did not become popular. It's almost like I don't know, back in the days people resign, but now it's almost like they are playing around with the people.
I don't know. He's been clinging to power. I just think he's the worst prime minister that Canada has ever had. Why? Probably because he was born into privilege, if you want to call it that. A political family with that name, and there's just a degree of political royalty that comes with being Trudeau. And I don't think he can relate to average, ordinary people. I think that's probably the biggest part of it. Does that make sense to you?
That makes a lot of sense. And if you ask me actually one last question, I promise you. For somebody living in the United States, I'm trying to understand, why is it like nobody say anything about the Prime Minister of Quebec to as somebody that can replace him? Because they name all kind of people. Freeland, that person who just was his finance minister, the assistant prime minister, those people, but nobody never mentioned this guy, the Prime Minister of Quebec, which everybody talk highly of him, but nobody never mentioned him as a replacement. Is there a reason why?
Because the system here doesn't quite work that way. Because the leader of the Bloc Québécois only has a few seats in Parliament. They don't have enough support across the country for him to just replace Trudeau. We have to have an election, and then that would determine who would become the next prime minister. But it's a parliamentary system. It's not a presidential system. The party with the most seats at the end of the election forms government, and then the leader of that party becomes the prime minister. That's the way that it works here. And
Thank you very much.
yeah, no problem. I'm glad that you called in. Really appreciate your feedback. You have a great night and Happy New Year, sir. And let's bring Dragon back in here. I had his audio muted so that it wasn't interfering with the call there. Were you able to hear any of that, Dragon?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. They just can't hear you on the other side because your audio doesn't filter back to the person on the phone. But yeah,
actually, I did hear part of what he said, and it's quite a nice point that he brought up. But if you want me to show you what's going on right now,
yes, please.
I got in front of the crowd right here, and as you can see, there's a lot of part of the SPVM right here. Making sure that everything is going well and that everyone is safe, right?
Yep.
And I'm just waiting for the car to pass around so I can move around.
Sure.
And show you, make a roundup, if you will, of the crowd already around here. So.
Now, is there any kind of counter protest or anything like that happening there, or is it just the one group?
No, it's just that one group right here. There's about right now. Let me count roughly here. I would say probably 100 people maximum right here in Dorchester Park. And as you can see, it's music, flags, and gathering, talking. No, there's no propaganda or nothing. It's just, having fun. It's New Year's, and as the New Year is coming, as the 2025 is about to sound in.
Very, very. It's just
peaceful.
People hanging out so far. It's just extremely peaceful. They're not even chanting or doing anything from what I'm seeing.
No, it's not like what you see sometime in Vancouver with those people calling out for things that I wouldn't tell here because it's New Year's and I want to start with positive.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, this is just them kind of gathering, getting ready, and we'll see what they do as the night progresses. They're really just still assembling at this point, so we'll just see what happens with the protest.
It is.
Yeah. Well,
but
okay.
I hope you enjoyed that already.
All right, if you guys would like to join the conversation tonight on this New Year's Eve, you can call 1-519-401-1373, 1-519-401-1373. Let's take another break, and we'll come back with more live coverage out of Montreal, this protest, and we'll keep checking in here with some other stuff going on around the world for as long as we can. And here we go.
Someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the Founding Fathers. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
The entire world is watching.
Every dictator, every crazy dictator in the world is watching.
The world is watching. On TV, the entire world is watching. On social media,
But the entire world is watching, and yes, they are seeing what we have apparently bravely been willing to say that others are thinking.
Stand for freedom. Literally stand for freedom. Let's get this done. The entire world is watching.
We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars.
Maverick News. Maverick News. Maverick News.
Let me have more control of my own destiny.
The world is watching.
Okay, let's go back to Dragon in Montreal. And you know what I noticed today, Dragon? I've been getting many email messages from political parties looking for last minute, end of year donations. The PPC, they had a $300,000 goal, and I think they exceeded that. And the Conservatives had a $2 million fundraising goal. And
Wow.
I don't know if they've managed to reach that or not. Yeah, $2 million.
Yeah, well, everyone's trying to reach for money nowadays, right? Thanks
Yeah.
for Trudeau's type of economic that we had to deal with.
Yeah, well, that's the new video from Pierre Poilievre came out today. They're calling it Wackonomics. And they're just saying that Trudeau has introduced a whole new kind of economics, Wackonomics, where numbers don't matter. It's actually a pretty well-produced video. It is funny. I can't run it because I know we'll get hit with a copyright strike. But
Yeah.
You might want to check that out online, folks. That's new today. And yeah, these email messages, I see that just within the last 10 minutes, this is what prompted me to mention this. The Conservative Party of Canada.
I'm watching. Sorry.
Was there somebody who wanted to be on camera?
No, actually, she was actually asking if I was panning on this direction, but I told her I was panning on this direction.
Oh,
so.
I see. Yeah.
Because they are camera shy, as you know. So
very camera shy, yes. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they have beautiful faces and beautiful, beautiful culture. We want to know about it.
Yeah,
Don't we?
They like to impose their restrictions even in public places where you have every lawful right to shoot anything you want or even anyone in a public place. But these folks don't get that. They don't care. And this has been an ongoing problem because...
Well, this is why I wanted... Well, it's not the reason why I wanted to show you this beautiful light bulb, if you will. Because, well, it's looked like a beautiful Christmas type of atmosphere, right? And I like it. I'm not a very Christmas guy, but this year, for some reason, I decided to temper into it. So,
hang on a second here. We're going to go back to New York and just show people the size of the crowd there. There we go. Okay. And you can see people, we're getting a rock out. They're dancing and partying. And, yeah, some sort of a show going on there. I guess is that part of the Dick Clark rockin' New Year's Eve with Ryan Seacrest thing going on down there? That's what's that say? Times Square 2025. I don't think that's the ABC feed thing. I think that's just a stage in the middle of Times Square.
Yeah.
With some sort of a dance.
They're having some celebrities there.
Yeah. So that's
but hey,
Times
I mean,
Square.
Times Square is Times Square. Montreal is another ball game, and you know what? I like Montreal, as you know, and well, let's get into it.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be fun.
Wonder what's happening in Toronto tonight. We showed the protest going on down there. Here's I guess it's snowing in Toronto.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, the sky is blue here.
And here's let me see if I can get you any footage out of Toronto tonight. That's all from yesterday. And I don't have a feed. Not yet. So.
Yeah, Peter Grayson says, walk over to Crescent Street. Not very far away from there, but...
well, if there's more action over there, man, let's go get some...
Yeah.
Let's go find
the
something
action
where there's
is here,
something
my
going
brother.
on.
Sorry, guys. It's cold for my nose.
You want to take a stroll over there? We can linger here for a few minutes. Do you want to go check out another location?
No. I think the party
stay here?
is all around here, and we'll keep an eye on what's going on, right?
Okay. I defer to your judgment, sir. Absolutely. Okay. What other news was there going on today? Wow. There's these ghost ships, these Russian ghost ships, they're calling them, that have been intercepted. That's a pivotal moment in the whole Ukraine war, because this just changes the dynamics substantially. They caught that that one Russian tanker, and it was intercepted by Finland, and they boarded the vessel, and they found all kinds of spy equipment and other kinds of equipment that is used in in spying and even disruption. So I'm just checking for the latest information on that. So the Finnish authorities they seized that tanker. It's named the Eagle S, and it's suspected of damaging critical undersea infrastructure.
Oh.
And that ship is believed to be part of Russia's so-called Shadow Fleet, which is accused of dragging its anchor across the seabed, and that severed the Estlink 2 power cable connecting Finland and Estonia. And they found a drag mark, the investigators did, which extended for more than 60 miles, suggesting either deliberate sabotage, a drag mark on the bottom of the seabed, deliberate sabotage or gross negligence, one or the other. And the ship, which is registered under a flag of convenience, is part of an operation that helps Russia skirt Western sanctions related to the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. And the crew members there are currently under travel restrictions as the investigation continues. And then we've got rising tensions in the Baltic Sea, because that incident is not isolated. There has been a pattern of undersea cable disruptions in the region, raising concerns about hybrid warfare tactics. NATO and the EU have expressed solidarity with Finland and Estonia, with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte stating NATO's readiness to provide further support. So these acts of sabotage, whether intentional or accidental, underscore really the vulnerability of critical infrastructure in the Baltic Sea, especially amidst heightened geopolitical tensions due to the war in Ukraine.
Yeah, well, basically, we are talking about sabotage, right?
Yes. Yeah.
This is part of what war always been. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, from some report that I've been looking at, Finland has only one of those cable left to be able to have internet or what they are providing to Finland. So yeah.
Well, Russia's use of ghost ships or shadow fleets isn't just about avoiding sanctions. Those vessels are often older and less maintained. They pose significant risks not only to maritime safety but also to environmental security. And reports indicate that these ships have been involved in mapping out potential sabotage targets like wind farms, pipelines, and communication cables across Nordic waters, potentially preparing for larger conflicts with Western powers. We're seeing both sides continue to prepare for possible escalated conflict involving other, maybe even NATO countries, broader conflict with Russia. It's all very concerning.
Yeah.
And so while the focus has really been on Baltic activities, there's also chatter on social media platforms about similar Russian strategies potentially extending to the Black Sea, with ships involved in smuggling stolen Ukrainian grain. And this broader strategy of using ghost fleets could be part of Russia's multi-pronged approach in its ongoing conflict with Ukraine, extending beyond direct military engagement.
Right.
Yeah, not hearing a lot about this in mainstream media over here at all, but it's all happening.
And strategically, you know what it is going to do? It's going to cut off Poland and Finland all about, their resources at some point. And basically, it's cutting them off from the rest of the world at some point. So it's a good move probably for Russia, but it's not good for the geopolitics type of, situation right now.
Well, it's very destabilizing, and it shows that this is a broader conflict and involves a lot more than just what's going on in Ukraine itself. And as we approach the new year, these incidents remind us of the fragile peace in Europe's seas, where every undersea cable cut or mysterious ship movement could signal a broader strategy of destabilization. And so we're going to continue to monitor all of these developments closely, because it's all very, very worrying, honestly. And
it's interconnected.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Gaza is connected to Ukraine, is connected to Poland, is connected to these elections in Romania, which are under scrutiny and question about their validity. And Moldova, and suggestions that Russia is really looking to expand their empire through the exercise of Russian imperialism again. So we'll see where it all ends up, man. It's, a lot of people looking at what we're doing over here too, but I think
it's a rough start.
A rough start to 2025. What are you thinking? Can Trump end this thing on his first day in office the way he has promised?
Kind of hard, right, to believe that he would. I know that Putin has rejected his plan. So, yeah, this is not looking good, because now we have to rethink all about the whole situation or all the plan. So, yeah.
Very discouraging, because Russia, they're not even really at the table formally engaged in any kind of negotiations, and Russia is already declaring in public that they're rejecting the Trump peace plan even before it has formally been presented. So this is not a good way to start, in my view.
Yeah, well, it is, Makes me think of what, for example, if you go on a macro organism, if you will, if you look at what we are trying to do, like Smith, what she said to Trump, right? We
Daniel
need
Smith,
to,
Premier Alberta.
we need to get all our resources together, kind of thing, right? So, yeah. I think we need to do that in a global scale also, and look into peace.
Now, let me ask you this, Dragon, because we're talking about this 51st state issue. You're up there in Montreal, Quebec. People in Quebec have always been very focused on preserving your cultural identity,
Yeah.
your language, your culture, your even your to a great degree, in some cases, religious beliefs. What's the mood like in Quebec with regard to this 51st state thing? Do people want to preserve what we have as being part of Canada? Do people, anybody up there in Quebec, even entertaining this? If we become part of the United States, I would think that all of these efforts to preserve French culture in Quebec as a distinct society, all the debates we've had over the past 150 plus years as a sovereign country. Quebec, has certain rights.
Well,
I can't imagine that any of that would be preserved in any kind of a situation where Canada becomes part of it. Quebec becomes part of the United States.
well, part of the people that I know that I've asked about, it's divided, right? Some of these will say, look, it's probably the best for some economic, probably for a strategic situation or reason. It would be a good thing, right? But at the same time, when I analyze what they are telling me, it's a bit like they're not liking much what's going on in the country, and they don't like the country much as they should, you know. So yeah, that's on the one side. The other side, they don't want to lose their sovereignty. My guys don't like to feel like they are getting the new America type of state. They don't want to become the 51 state. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of divided.
What do you think? What do you want to do?
Well, look, we always been the trade number one partner of the U.S. So sure, we should keep that partnership. But no, I don't want to lose my sovereignty. I like Canada as it holds, and even though with their flaws that we have, well, this is my all beloved country, and I will take it with what it is. So yeah, no, let's stay Canada as Canada is.
Just looking in the chat here to see if anybody's commenting on anything. Antonio. Hello, Antonio. Great to have Antonio back. He says, I've heard it said that the oligarchs may receive kingdoms before Elon was admitted into politics, and the verse to support that view is... And he goes on and says, Revelation 17:12, and the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings 1 hour with the beast.
Yep.
And we are seeing something that I think is becoming something of an oligarchy in the United States with the election of Trump and Elon Musk spending $270-ish million to get Trump into the White House, and himself, as a result as well, joined at the hip he is to DJT. What else do we have in the chat here tonight? Markowitz, ask about the smog. Somebody says ask about the smog.
Okay, because a few days ago, Montreal had a smog advisory. So, but it was basically a little smog advisory, nothing to fear about. So,
okay. A smog advisory or a fog advisory?
Oh, there were some smog about
smog
6
being
days
pollution.
ago. Yep.
Pollution?
Yep. A lot of pollution in Montreal's air. What do you know?
Oh. And so smog in December.
Yep. It's rare, but it happens.
Yeah. So.
Or basically what they call the air air saturation was not good, basically.
Air quality in December.
Yeah, air quality
Where
was
does most?
bad.
Do you have any idea where the source of that smog or air pollution is?
Not
In
really.
Montreal?
I was looking at it, but it was basically for the whole Montreal area. So, but hey, I mean, don't worry, guys. You know, I breathe air like a gentleman. No, we're having fun here, and yeah.
That's Times Square again. Oh, they're putting on another show, more dancing. I don't know exactly what the deal is with this. Do we have any audio? It doesn't look like it's very cold there either, does it?
No. A lot of t-shirts.
Yeah. So it looks like a fairly warm night tonight in Times Square as people prepare for the big ball drop.
I wouldn't recommend you to come in Montreal with a t-shirt.
Just checking
No.
the chat over on Rumble to see what's going on over there. Linda says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Linda. Happy New Year, everybody. Norfa, Sharon, Ned. Who else is in the chat tonight? Weepy Jammin'. Happy New Year to Weepy Jammin'. And All Matched. And who else is in there? 6590. Happy New Year's, Rick, and everybody. Happy New Year back to you. I can't put the Rumble chats up on the screen for the audience to see. They just don't have the integration capability into the multi-stream system that we use here.
Unfortunately, but I can see the YouTube chat on the side screen here. But
yeah, Sharon. 115 Sharon says, Rick, how about Guy Lombardo before Dick Clark? That's right. Guy Lombardo and the Royal Canadians. Those guys were world famous, Canadian. And those are the guys who played, Old Lang Syne.
Right.
But yeah. Those were the days, man. When I was a kid, it was all about Guy Lombardo, even before Dick Clark, or even as Dick Clark was emerging as world famous. Guy Lombardo, as a Canadian, still an icon. I'm sorry, I didn't even come to mind, but he absolutely deserves recognition on this New Year's Eve 2024 as well. Yeah.
Yep.
And 115 Sharon says, Ned Tunes, I imagine live in person. I've been told about a live attendance during a symphony concert. I don't know what that's making reference to. Don't know what that means. What that's about, don't know. Just a lot of chat going on over on Rumble.
But Rumble is always one of those chat that is always rolling up.
Yeah. So, so the option we have here, Dragon, is I don't know how much battery power you have, but I cannot stay on here for the full duration of the evening. I was really only planning on doing a regular broadcast here, and we're kind of getting to the end of that. I have to go spend some quality family time with my wife tonight, so I need to do that on this New Year's Eve, so I'm not going to stay here straight through until midnight. I'm not sure what's going on there. Do we have a need at this point to continue this broadcast with you at this protest? Shall I just hand the broadcast over to you at this point? But let's go. You think about that. We've got a call coming in here from, it looks like it's John out in Alberta, and I'm glad John is calling in tonight. Let me just see if I can get him up and on the air here. Hello, John. Welcome back, sir.
Well, good evening, Maverick News, and a pre-happy New Year to everybody.
Well, it is New Year's. Yeah, it's New Year's Eve. We're right on the brink of 2025.
Well, just a bit of breaking news, Rick. Trump is doing a live feed out of Mar-a-Lago on Fox News on YouTube.
Oh, he is.
Huge celebration tonight at Mar-a-Lago. A lot of heavy hitters there. I just kind of stumbled on it. I was kind of looking for the Dick Clark. I love that guy. The Dick Clark New Year's Eve is probably the best show going. Next to Maverick News. Next to Maverick.
Yeah. It's not the same without Dick Clark actually being there. Like Ryan Seacrest is okay, but there's something about the whole thing without Dick Clark. It's just lost something, you know.
Well, Dick Clark, he is pretty legendary. Eh? I mean, he'd been around since the 50s. He's been gone for a while now. Over 10 years.
Is it that long?
I think it's coming up on 10, Rick. It's either it's a little longer. Time goes quickly, eh?
Well, I didn't know. Didn't realize that it'd been that long.
But I'd like to personally thank you, Rick. It's been for it's always a privilege and an honor to be on your show with you, your family, your journalistic integrity, and Joseph Reinhold out of Kingston, our Brendan out of Innisfail. I mean, all the different contributors, Dragon, Kevin Mikulich, I don't know who I'm leaving out or forgetting, but it's been a pleasure. It really has been a fun year. You make it fun. And I think 2025 is going to be a really incredible year. I really have good feelings about 2025 coming in here for Canada.
Yeah. You have you're feeling pretty positive about the incoming year. Are you? Why?
Well, I think it's going to be very interesting next 6 months with Trump coming into the Oval Office and Daniel Smith out of Alberta, the Premier out of Alberta. We're not the 51st state yet, but Doug Ford, there's, Poilievre coming in. I think Trudeau is going to be stepping down pretty early on here. I really think there's some good things coming. I'm a total optimist, so you have to look forward to things and be positive about it.
Yeah. Looks like Trump here. See his speech here. Now that's old. Let me see if I can find
There's
whatever
a
it is.
live feed right now on the. Yeah, he was walking the line coming into Mar-a-Lago there with Melania.
Yeah, there is a feed coming up here. No, that's way in the distance. I'm not on the Fox News thing.
Yeah, there is a live one, I think, coming out of Fox. You could run some clips on that. It's pretty good. So he looks very, very presidential tonight, much different than Sleepy Joe, basic Bolshevik bunker Joe Biden with Dr. Jill sitting in the ice cream house, I think. Not the White House, the ice cream house. Did you get that, Joe?
Oh, where is this fireworks coming from? Well, that's okay. That's Texas. So we don't need to show you that. I'm looking for whatever I can get you here. So what else are you feeling optimistic about? It sounds like you're in a positive frame of mind after.
Well, I'm just on the edge of getting a T-bone steak going here and a little bit of a Christmas and New Year's cheer with baked potato and sour cream. I would like again to put it out. If you are enjoying the festivities tonight for New Year's, please don't drink and drive. Please take a cab, phone a friend, phone your mom, phone your dad, phone your brother, sister, take a cab. Keep us all safe, and you need to be safe too if you're enjoying a few cocktails tonight.
Yeah, indeed. Going back to Times Square. Oh, it's raining in Times Square now, man. Coming down in buckets.
Wow.
What a change that was pretty quickly. That's putting a damper on the festivities.
Well, we've had light snow here in Alberta. It's about -10, and it's clear. It's nice, and a lot of people out today.
Yeah. Yeah, some guys using a squeegee to try to get all the water off a stage there, but he's fighting a losing battle right now, man. I'll tell you that. Well,
and I'd encourage some other callers to call in. I don't want to monopolize anybody's time, but again, thank you so much, friend. It's been a heck of a 2024 on Maverick with our family, Canada-wide and the Dominion of Canada, and our brothers and sisters in the United States and around the world. And I think the best is yet to come.
yeah,
Rick, I really do.
Well, I hope you're right. I'm glad that you're feeling positive tonight. That makes me feel good. Here's some footage before you go, John, of some massive fireworks display in Japan. What is this, Nagasaki, Japan? Anyway, huge. Look at the size of that burst. That's beautiful. Holy smokes. Literally. Wow. That is one heck of a... That's like one shell bursting into many. That was impressive. A single explosion burst in the air. That was beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow. Gorgeous. Well, thank you, John, for everything you've done this year, too. You've been a major contributor to the program. You've hooked us up with some great interviews, and you've been a regular contributor and caller in, and really appreciate all that you've done as well, sir.
Well, thank you, Rick. I'm always out. I'm a very sociable person, farmer, oil guy. I'm always networking and talking to people and promoting the show and getting it out there and trying to give people across Canada just a little bit of the Alberta opinion. And I'm not always on the mark, believe me. But it's nice to get the boots on the ground, a little bit of a Western perspective, because we're all part of this great country called Canada.
Yeah, we've had a lot of great guests over the past year and a lot of regular contributors, from Derek Smith out in Alberta, your way, to Mike Pekarik and Carl Larson from Ukraine Defense Support, and we've had Jeff Evely from Veterans for Freedom on here. We've had some other people, just from different walks of life too, and different organizations. Got to jump off. Another call coming in, sir.
Okay,
Gotta
cheers.
go.
God
Thank
bless
you, John.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Take care. Go ahead. You're on the air. Who do we have?
It's Isabel.
Isabel. Hello. Happy New Year.
I want to wish you happy Hogmanay.
Do you want to wish me a what? A happy what?
Hogmanay.
Hogmanay.
Yes, I'm Scottish. We have Hogmanay.
Well, please explain that for people that don't know what that is.
It's Happy New Year. But in Britain, our tradition is, when I was dating my husband, I could go out before New Year's, but I couldn't come back in the door first. My husband had to come in first because he had black hair.
Okay.
Black hair is a lucky thing. It goes back to the Vikings, because the Vikings had blonde hair and light-colored hair. So that came as a negativity, because we fought the Vikings, right?
Right. Yeah.
So somebody with light hair was bringing bad luck. So if I had a fight with my husband on New Year's Eve, I was locked out of my parents' house.
Well, this is all new to me. This is not something I was even familiar with, so I've learned something tonight. Hogmanay.
Hogmanay. And you had to come with either a piece of coal, or you had to come with a piece of bread. So that the coal was to bring good luck and heat, and the bread was to bring food and good luck.
Oh.
So you had to come with, you couldn't come empty-handed. You didn't have to bring a gift. You could just pick up a piece of coal or whatever, but you had to bring that over the threshold. And our tradition was, my mother was very staunch British. You had to have everything in the house cleaned before the new year came in. You threw out the old dust. So there was no old dust in the house. The windows got open, the clean air came in, the dirty air went out with the bad vibrations and the evil spirits. And we would have almost like we had Guy Fawkes Day, which was bonfires. We would have a bonfire, which would represent now fireworks. And when I say bonfires, these were like 8 feet.
Oh,
They were
that's a bonfire.
They were bonfires. I remember going to a few of them when I was a kid. I loved it. I mean, these things were huge.
Wow.
But yes, we had traditions, yes.
Very cool. Wow.
And
That-
you always had to have haggis.
Oh, haggis. Yeah, well, I know what haggis is. I've had haggis. That's very Scottish. Yeah.
My son gets it every year. My kids are half French, half Scottish.
Yeah.
But because my husband was French. But my son always does that tradition of haggis on Christmas Day. He has to have his haggis Christmas Day.
Now, Tommy, is haggis good for you, or is it like a cholesterol builder?
Well,
I
it's
hear
not
different
something
things.
you can eat a lot of. Actually, haggis started out as a poor man's meal.
Yeah.
Because it was oatmeal and a combination of pork and beef. Although what some people don't like is it is wrapped in a lamb stomach.
Right. Yeah, I
Right,
don't
but
find that
that-
appealing myself. But
Yeah. But I mean, it's like sausage. When you get the sausage, it's wrapped.
yeah.
So certain Italian sausages, I guess, or whatever, and they cook them in the wrapping. They don't eat the wrapping; they just cut the wrapping.
Yeah.
You don't eat that. But haggis is something that you can't eat a lot of. I don't know if you know the term of water brash.
No.
Okay, so that's like you would call a sour burp. Right?
Okay,
When you go
yeah.
to burp and you get something that comes up that you don't want to.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so if you eat too much of that, because it swells in your stomach, so
Mhm.
it's not something you can eat a lot of. But it's something that, I enjoy haggis and mincemeat pies and all that kind of stuff. Marzipan at Christmas. Those are my favorite go-tos, yeah. So we have hogmanay.
Hogmanay. Okay.
Hogmanay.
I have to say, that sounds like one of the, especially the bonfire part, that sounds like a great New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people would build it, and I still have relatives. Well, I don't have many relatives over there. I have a cousin and his daughters, and they celebrate Hogmanay. They will shortly. I guess they're 6 hours. Are they 6? They're 6 hours ahead of us, so they've already had their New Year's. So yeah, it's and they're in Paisley, Scotland, and yeah, that's how they celebrate. They're very traditional. They stick to the old style. I mean, especially in the small villages. The small villages are very close.
I see. Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of tradition. You don't want to break the tradition.
So you still preserve some of this stuff even
Yes.
today?
Even today, like I have, well, the kids say I have, what is it they call me? I have ADHD. I said, no, I don't have ADHD. I have OCD. And actually, it's not OCD because the letters are backwards. It should be CDO because I like everything in order. But yes, the house is clean, the beds are changed, everything is ready to go New Year's. It's just how I am. I know my kids are glad they don't live at home anymore.
Well, how you feeling about 2025? Just give us some final thoughts.
2025.
Yeah.
It's got to be a better year. The last 3, 4, 9 years really suck. It's got to be a better year. I can see that we'll get through this, and we'll keep our sovereignty, and we'll get rid of fancy socks. I definitely see that he's going to be gone.
Yeah.
From everything that I see. So
Yep.
yeah.
And anything
I'm
that
looking
comes
forward
after this has got to be better than what we've just been through, right? Anything.
Well, you know what they say, you can't go any further down. The only way to go now is up.
Yes,
We're
that's
at
right.
the bottom of the barrel. We got to go up.
That's exactly right. Well,
You know,
yeah. Well, Isabel, thank you for calling in. It's great to hear from you, especially tonight. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy Hugmanay. You've been awesome. I've been with you, I think, now, 3-ish years since you started?
It's amazing.
So, yeah. We're going to go into 2025, guys. And we're going to come out the other end without him.
It's just a very short period of time now, I'm sure of that. Thank you.
Thank you, and you have a good New Year, Rick.
You too. And we'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. There we go. Okay, let's just bring Dragon's microphone back online. There you go, Dragon. Did you hear all that?
Yeah, I did. And Isabel, you just teach me a few things of your own tradition, if I can put it this way, with my Irish type of accent.
Yeah.
And you then had some bonfire. It was Cairn bun.
Man, an 8-foot bonfire. That's one heck of a party. That's what that is.
That's one big Cairn, like they say in Irish.
Sounds like they've got speeches or something going on over there. Are you able to go over there, or are they going to assault you or something?
Oh, I don't think they will assault me. I'm just wishful. And no, they're just, chanting the usual thing. Free Palestine.
A little taste of that?
It's the usual Free Palestine thing. New Year's resolution. Palestine revolution. This is the new word of the day. New Year's resolution. You still there, Rick?
Yeah, I'm still here. I was just making you full screen so people could see your video.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, New Year's revolution is the new chant of the day. New Year's revolution, Palestine revolution.
So not New Year's resolution. They're calling for a New Year's revolution.
Yep. Oh. Word for word, my friend.
So they're calling for a New Year's revolution.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of sad, right? I mean, well, it is what it is. It's Montreal, and it is the world of today. So let's see how that will get hold. But to answer to your question of earlier, you know what? No, just leave the feed down. Don't leave it up for the rest of the night. Yeah. I will just, walk around, walk with them, cover my on my own accord, and do some record for tomorrow morning to upload on my channel. And from there, I will wish everyone, all the listeners, all the contributors, from Joseph to everyone else, like Brendan and everyone in the between.
And Brian Howell, hello to Brian.
Everyone.
Johnny and John and...
I mean, there's so many names. There's so many names. I cannot all recall them. But yeah,
and Linda,
everyone.
Linda. Thank you, Linda. And
Linda.
Yes.
Hey, can I do a last one shout out to Norfa again for the beautiful gift that she sent me? Still a beautiful gift because I do a lot of cooking with that cooker and the air fryer. So, and I mean, look, guys, it's a New Year's. I hope it's going to be positive for everyone. I hope you enjoy the rest of the night with your family. Rick, I want you to get a lot of time with your wife. Spend some time with her. Give her a big kiss for me, right? And Cosmo as well. He needs a little scruffy from his friend Dragon.
Yes.
So I want you all to have a good one.
Yeah, and I want you to have a great New Year's Eve. Enjoy it in any way you can tonight. We will. I even as I'm, just spending the evening with my wife here, I will monitor things. Dragon, if things blow up in a major way, you know how to get a hold of me. We can always come back on live if we need to. But it looks like we've got a peaceful protest on our hands in Montreal tonight, which is a very good thing. That's fine. And you'll monitor if we need to. We'll come back and provide additional coverage.
Exactly.
Simple as that.
I'll keep my eyes open for you guys, and we'll update you tomorrow if there needs to. So.
Yes, absolutely.
And on the meantime, well, have a good one. Hope you all enjoy the beautiful coverage of the years. And, well, there's more to come in the one next coming.
That's right. And I'm going to go and just do New Year's with my wife. I appreciate everybody spending this portion of New Year's Eve with us here on Maverick News. Love you, you Maverick family. You guys are the best. And thank you so much for the ongoing support. And we'll be back tomorrow, or maybe before, but certainly tomorrow in a new year, 2025, as our quest for truth and freedom continues. Love you guys.
Happy New Year.
Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.